I'm going to help you decide whether you should start a product-based business or a digital marketing agency. What's up, guys? For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Tyler Dooley. I am the founder and CEO of two different beverage brands, Wake Up Water, which is a healthy energy drink mix, and Selly Hard Seltzer, which is a vodka RTD drink. I also do a lot of work consulting and helping brands sell more effectively and sell more on platforms like Amazon and TikTok Shop. So I have some experience both starting, running, and scaling product-based businesses, as well as doing some of the digital marketing agency work that you might be interested in. So first off, I think there's a few things to kind of consider before you actually jump into this. One, what do you like to do? Have you always dreamed of starting a product brand? Have you always kind of wished you could come up with the next protein bar or drink brand or what have you? And has that been a goal of yours? And if that's something you're really passionate about, that's something that holds a lot of weight, because I think whenever you're starting a business, it's really important to find something that you're really passionate about, because if you're not passionate about it, it will just eat you alive, because it's so difficult, it's so stressful, it's time consuming. You're going to spend a lot of your time not only working on the business, but also thinking about it, and it's just always on your mind. So I think finding something you're really passionate about will enable you to be successful with it. If you're not passionate about it, there's plenty of other people who are, and you're just not going to be able to compete with them, because you're not going to give the same level of attention to your business as they are. So one, what are you passionate about? What have you wanted to do? And what do you envision yourself being able to work on for the next 5, 10, 20 years? The next thing to consider is your financial position. So I know, in society now, everyone thinks that you can just start with nothing and make millions of dollars overnight, and sure, that happens, but let's be real, things cost money. If you want to start a product-based business, you're going to need some money to do it. If you want to start a digital marketing agency, you might be able to do that for basically no money. So those are kind of two kind of main pillars that we want to consider before we even dive into the nuances of things and the nitty gritty. It's like, one, what are you passionate about? What do you really want to do? And then secondly, do you have the financial resources, or can you find those financial resources from friends, family, other investors to start your business? When it comes to digital marketing agencies and product-based businesses, there are some similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. So, one, we touched on the financial aspect of it. So let's go over this. If you have plenty of money, if you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars saved up, it's not going to be a big deal. You could probably start a product-based business, no problem. But if you only have, a couple $1,000s to your name, $10,000, $20,000, or you're just not comfortable investing a lot of money into a business that you're unsure if it's going to work or not, product-based businesses might not be for you. So when I started both my beverage brands, each of those businesses were probably anywhere from like $50,000 to $150,000 each to start. So, with Wake Up Water, I started that about 4 years ago. Actually longer if you count the first iteration of the product, but that was a brand I got off the ground for about $50,000, and I quickly needed more money because, after you produce product, you go through and sell it. Like, you're gonna need to purchase more ingredients and more product. You have operational expenses, marketing expenses, what have you. So you do need some money to start a beverage brand, and really any consumer good brand. If you want to start like a protein bar, you're going to need some money. So that's a really important kind of thing to consider, right? Is like, just like realistically speaking, like you need some cash. So when it comes to a product-based business, you're going to need more money, because you're going to need to potentially pay for like the formulation, like coming up with the product. You're going to have to, design the label. You're going to have to, come up with a website, design the website. You're going to have to purchase ingredients, actually make the product. So you're going to pay a manufacturer to make it for you at scale. You have to package it out. You have to pay for transportation, all these things. So there's startup costs associated with it. Like I said, you probably could get by with like $50,000. But what you'll soon realize is that like that money will go quickly because not only are there startup costs associated with starting a product-based business, but you also have a lot of ongoing expenses. And so, you have to market the product. Like if you start a protein bar brand, who knows what your brand is? And you can post organically on social media. And I would recommend that actually starting out is like, don't spend a lot of money on marketing. Try to do as much organic work as you can. So organically posting on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, all the different social media platforms, telling your friends and family about it. But ultimately, you're just going to need some dollars as well to use for marketing. Like ideally, you're gonna spend a little bit on Amazon ads. You're gonna spend a little bit on Facebook and Instagram ads. Maybe you do a little influencer work, but you're just going to need that money. And also, your margins aren't going to be great when you first start. So, you might sell a box of protein bars for $25, but it might cost you, $15, $16 to make the product. So now you're making like $10 of gross profit. But if you're selling on Amazon, they're going to take, say, 30%. You're going to have operational expenses. You're going to have to run some discounts. Like your margin isn't going to be amazing when you first start out. So you're going to need more dollars in your bank to, kind of help with the cash flow constraints, because even though you're generating some sales, you're not generating a whole lot of profit early on. So you're constantly needing money to alleviate that cash flow constraint and, purchase more inventory and ingredients when you need them. Do some of those marketing expenses, operational expenses, any sort of expenses that come up. So you're going to need more money. Whereas if you're starting a digital marketing agency, you could essentially do that for $0. Like you could do a digital marketing agency on your phone. You don't even need a laptop anymore. Like technology has gotten so impressive that you could run the entire business off your phone. You could start an LLC for $500, go out and try to find some clients, and every single client you get is virtually a 100% margin. Because say you're, running Amazon ads for a company. If you're charging $2,500 a month to do that, what are your costs? Like you're the one doing it at first. You're basically exchanging your time for the money. So there is no cash flow constraints. There is no, needing extra dollars in the bank. Like you're just kind of picking up the phone and calling and emailing people and trying to get those clients. And every client you get is just pure profit. So take those two positions, like $2,500, say you get 4 of them, 4 clients, that's $10,000 a month. You're making just about $10,000 a month. Like you might have some expenses here and there, but very little. You're gonna have to pay taxes on those. Don't forget the tax. They will take they will take that money from you. But besides, those kind of one-off costs or very minimal costs, and besides taxes, like you're making that $10,000. When you have a product-based business, you might at first be making $10,000 in revenue, but your costs for the month might be $15,000 or $20,000, and quickly you realize, oh my God, I'm losing $5,000 or $10,000 a month. On top of that, you're losing money, but then you're also starting to move through some inventory, so you're gonna have to purchase more inventory. You have to come up with more money for a production run. So if you do not have a whole lot of money, or you have a lot of money and you're just not comfortable kind of risking a lot of money, go the digital marketing route, because it will cost basically nothing to start. So if that's your main concern, if you're like, look, I want to start something, I don't want to spend a lot of money doing it, go digital marketing agency. Pick up the phone, get some clients, start rolling, and you can do very well for yourself. The flip side of that though is, yes, you can make a lot of short-term money with a digital marketing agency. And sometimes you're not making a whole lot on the product side. Like you aren't cash flow positive. You are losing money every month. So short term, not only are we saying it costs less to start a digital marketing agency, we're also saying that the short term cash flow, the short term profit or personal income for yourself will very likely be better going the digital marketing agency route. You might not be able to pay yourself for like a year, 2 years, 3 years if you're doing a product-based business, because again, that cash flow issue, you might not be profitable, all sorts of things. So if money's a concern, if you want to make more money in the short term, digital marketing agency. However, with a product-based business, you're typically going to have a business that's worth more money. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a digital marketing agency and you've got, say you're doing $1 million a year, and you've got a bunch of clients, you're doing really well, you don't necessarily have a sellable business. And there's a few reasons for that. A potential acquirer is going to look at your business and say, okay, they do $1 million a year, but how many of those clients are only there because they really like who runs it? The man or woman who runs it, we really like them, and that's why we use this digital marketing agency. And guess what? If they're not there anymore, we're just going to use somebody else. So a potential acquirer is realizing, okay, they do $1 million today. If we buy that company and that owner steps away, will those clients stay? They call that key man risk. So there's that risk that if you step away, will your clients remain? And really what these acquirers are doing is they're buying a book of business. And so they can grow that further, but it's not as scalable because they're going to have to go out and get new clients. They're probably going to lose some when you step away. And also, there's always going to be churn. There's always going to be customers kind of leaving you, and you're constantly needing to get more. And you need to hire people to kind of be the sales reps, to be the account managers. And so because of those things, there's not a whole lot of enterprise value that's built up. I don't want to speak kind of out of my lane because I've kind of just only heard through the grapevine, but it seems like if you have a business like a marketing agency and you're doing $1 million, $2 million a year, a lot of times you might only be able to sell for like 1 or 2 times that revenue. So if you're doing $1 million, someone might buy you for $1 million or might buy you for $2 million, but probably not much more than that. On the other side of things, product-based businesses, in the short term, cash is going to be really tight. You're probably not going to make a whole lot of profit. You're not going to make a whole lot of personal income. But what you are doing is you're building a brand and you're building enterprise value. And the valuations on product-based businesses can be significantly higher than a digital marketing agency. So short-term cash, digital marketing agency, long-term wealth, product-based business. And obviously that's not always the case. You can build a digital marketing agency, you could build it to a Gary Vaynerchuk level, and you could be doing a few $100 million a year, and then you are set. But I'm just talking about like realistically, in a 5 or 10 year span, like, you might do a great job and build a business that's doing a few $1 million a year. So I just want to kind of keep, that mindset and keep things grounded. You might hit a home run with digital marketing. You might be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's going to be much more difficult. And if you go to sell the business, it's not going to be as sellable as a product-based business, if done right. I mean, product-based businesses, you might not be profitable, you might not be doing well with it, so you might not have a sellable business there either. But if done correctly, it will be worth a whole lot more. And here's why. If you have a product-based business and you're doing $10 million a year, maybe you're making $1 million profit. You're, $1 million of EBITDA. A potential acquirer is going to look at you and say, okay, they're making 10 million in revenue, they're making $1 million in EBITDA. The multiples there quickly become 15 to 20 times EBITDA. So you have a business that's doing 10 with $1 million profit. If you're growing very quickly, they might even put a multiple on the revenue, which could get to a very high valuation. But if you're doing $1 million or $2 million in revenue, it's probably going to be a 15 to 20 times multiple on that. And so if you have a $1 million or $2 million, 15 to 20 times, you're looking at $15, $30 million, all the way up to maybe $40 million, or potentially even more. And the reason that is because, say you have Wake Up Water, for example, my healthy energy drink brand. If you have a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or a Dr. Pepper Keurig, those businesses are honestly too big. Like they wouldn't even look at Wake Up Water right now. But if you have a company like that, or you have a smaller player, what they're going to say is, okay, this is a business that's profitable, but on top of that, it's much more scalable. Because what we can do is we can take the existing product that has a great brand name, has intellectual property, it's got a great, taste to it, it's got a lot of followers, people really love it, a lot of brand loyalty there. they can take that and just amplify it overnight. So they could come in and acquire you and then plug you into their distribution network and take you from doing 10 to 50 or 100 very quickly. And that's how these companies make a lot of money. If they're in private equity, they might take you, you might be doing $2 million a year in EBITDA. They might take you and acquire you for $30 million or $40 million. But then in like 5 years, they made 5 times the business. And all of a sudden, instead of doing 2 million in EBITDA, you might be doing 10 million in EBITDA. And then the multiples on that are 15 or 20. So now you're looking at, 150 or $200 million enterprise value. And so if they bought you for 30 and can sell you for 200, they could make a quick $170 million. So there's a lot of scalability and a lot of money to be made on the product side. The other thing is, like I said, the ease of scalability. So again, products are very hard to succeed in, but if you have a proven model, if things are working for you on Amazon, TikTok Shop, your website, these bigger companies can come in and pour fuel on the fire. They can say, okay, this is already working. Why don't we just increase our ad spend? Why don't we just put more money into the marketing? Why don't we hire more sales reps? Why don't we take this product and bring it to all the stores that we already go to? So if you have like a Coca-Cola, they're already bringing their products to these stores, the grocery stores, the convenience stores. Your product may not be there right now. So for them, an immediate unlock of new revenue is taking the product and just plugging it into the system and bringing it to those stores. And so that is a massive unlock for them. And it goes back to the brand identity, intellectual property, trademarks, the brand name, brand loyalty, having a great product, a growing industry. All these things will help you get the most bang for your buck when it's time to exit your business. So those are kind of like the big main pictures, I would say, when it comes to like a digital marketing agency and a product-based business. It's like, if you don't have a whole lot of money, you're going to want to go digital marketing agency because products are going to be a lot more expensive to start. If you want to make a lot of short-term money, you want to just kind of get clients and make money right away, digital marketing agency. If you have a little bit of money, and if you're okay not making a whole lot in the short term, but you're okay with that idea of putting up money, not making money in the short term, to potentially make a whole lot more down the road, maybe you consider products. Because they're going to have a higher enterprise value, potential for making a lot more money in the long term. So in the long term, potential for a lot more money. Those are kind of the main buckets. And then of course it goes back to like, what are you passionate about? What do you like to do? Because again, that will be, a really, really important aspect to all of this. If you get burnt out after a year, you're not going to make money doing anything. So figuring out what you actually want to do is quite important, but those are kind of the two main buckets, right? It's like, short-term cash and how much money do you have to put up. If you're okay putting up some money, if you're okay waiting a little bit, go product-based businesses because it can generate more wealth. But if you want more short-term money and if you like the digital aspect of it, digital marketing agencies are a great way to make some short-term money. I hope that kind of helps clear the air a little bit and kind of give you a little bit of insight into those two different types of businesses. Both can work, both can make you a lot of money. It's going to come down to personal preference, what you want to do, what your current situation is, and where you want to go later in life. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll try to get back to any questions that you guys do have. If you just write them in the comments, I'll try to respond to as many as I can. If you haven't already, would really appreciate you guys subscribing. It would mean a lot. It helps get my content to more people. I have nothing to sell you right now. I really just want to help you guys get the kind of information because when I was first starting, I didn't have any of that information. I couldn't really find it. So now that I'm kind of involved in that world and I'm kind of doing it and figuring it out as I go, I've had a little bit of experience, hoping to provide a little bit of insight, share my experience, and hopefully it can help you guys too. If you guys did like this, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.